Without question, this must be the most boring video I've ever done in my life, and I have done some very boring videos. But I'm in any case going to share it with you. So it is the fact that this machine was not working that opened up a very interesting discussion today. Now this is a Thrive slicer. It's a high-speed modern slicer. Well, it's actually old, but it's old now, but it used to be the absolute standard at one point. The principles that I want to show you comes from here. The bacon locks or the ham locks are placed here. This moves up, and it's that's open. You put the ham there. This of course is now at the top there. Then the ham presses down right through here. These springs, this keeps it in position, prevents it from jumping around like that when it's being sliced. And then the blade is at the bottom there. Now the machine wasn't working, and there were two components. We tested one of the components. There was input power, but there was no output power. And then the one next to it, there was input power and output power, but I didn't quite understand what is the relationship between the two. And so I took both of me, and Krista and myself took it to a new partner that we have in Austria, and he's going to see if he can fix it for us. But it so started a very interesting discussion today about controllers and about servo motors or inverters. And the other one is so a servo drive and an inverter is the same thing. Now there's the image of the two units that I took with me to Austria. The one on the left is the controller, that's the X. It wasn't working. On the one on the right, I learned today, was the inverter slash servo motor, right, or the servo drive. Now just before we get to the detail, and the rest of the video is that boring bit where I take you through the detail. I'm not quite sure myself. I fall over my words and all those kind of things. But the fascinating thing to me in this whole thing is the interplay between how precision is achieved. I've always thought that exerting power is like opening a tap or closing a tap, right? You release more energy or you reduce more energy. And even the fact that these two units, the servo motor, the servo slash inverter, and the brain of the machine, the controller, are next to each other, that was of interest to me. The reason is because it seemed to me that there's more to precision movement than opening and closing a tap of water, right? It seems to me that stopping something is also an act of force. And I didn't see it like that when I conceptualized it. So the servo motor, let's say it is the muscle. It delivers rotational force, or torque we call it, and position control with incredible fine precision and accuracy. Right? This is, Armin, you will see in weapon systems, absolutely important. Then the inverter, this is a servo motor slash an inverter, and I'll explain to you later what an inverter is. But it is the modulator, okay, and here in other words, it sculpts the power, it changes the power based on what the system requires, all right? And then the controller, the one on the left with the X, that is the brains of the machine. That makes the decisions. It's got the programs. It is our brains that says we want to do A, B, and C. But the servo motor itself, requires, when it stops, it needs active stopping. It is not just passive stopping, like turning a tap of water down. So, for example, if we want to portion 500 grams of meat with 1 gram accuracy, and we want to pull a vacuum, I'll explain to you guys that when we look at the vacuum filler just now, at constant speed, adjusting for mechanical wear or shifting material property, it must be done in real time, and it must be done with force. Right? This is not just opening and closing a tap. It is actively stopping something. It's far more involved than just opening and closing a tap, and our bodies work in the same way. So this is the thing that absolutely fascinates me, because it was so counterintuitive. It is not how I saw force. It is not how I saw energy. It is not how I saw how we start to do something and end doing something. It is that precise, quick movement requires force to begin it and to stop it, and it requires incredible accuracy. Now, how do systems achieve that? That is what this is about. Okay, so when I continue now, I did this earlier in the factory, and I just been studying it the whole morning, and I wasn't sure of it myself. But I want to share it with you guys because it's absolutely fascinating, and I hope you guys will find it fascinating. And if you don't, I'm sure you will one day. It's my bet on it. First, we think about the inverter. What does it invert? The inverter takes DC direct current. We're talking about electricity now, and it changes it into DC is changed into variable frequency alternate current. Variable frequency alternate current is what drives the motor in terms of the speed and the power of the motor. The servo is from the Latin from which we get the word slave, and the function of the servo function of this drive is to respond to feedback loop, to feedback that it gets from the motor, and it adjusts the speed and the power of the motor accordingly. It keeps the motor aligned with the commands that it receives. It's not the actual command unit, that is the controller. So the controller, it works with the servo inverter drive. And the controller has the programs, that is the brain of the operation, and then it gives commands. And the servo takes those feedback, and then it adjusts the motor, what the motor must do. Now, just off the bat, let me give you immediately a bit of a giveaway for this. In a military environment, you guys have seen the missile systems, how the missile system just quickly turns towards where it must go, and it shoots a projectile off. Now, without this capability, it would not be possible to fire projectiles with any degrees of accuracy. Another application is the turrets, the top part of the tank. When that turns, the exact turn where it must go to is not possible without these drives. So in many applications, whenever you see a quick mechanical movement of something, you know that the servo drive is involved in the process. Inverter servo drive. So what is the servo drive doing here? Well, it's controlling two things. It's controlling the speed of this blade, number one, and number two, it is controlling the force with which this is being pushed down. The ham or the bacon lock, with which the bacon lock or the ham lock is being pushed onto the blade. You can say that the inverter is the muscle that drives the machine, and the controller is the brain of the machine. I want to give you guys a look at what the blade looks like, because that's going to be a discussion that I want to have with you in a little bit. Later I'm going to have a discussion with you on the shape of this blade. It is called an involute blade. And Armin, remember when we spoke about Euler, the function, Euler that invented the function and the refined calculus, which was invented by Newton. We spoke about Euler, and Euler defined this famously. I'm going to leave it open like this for tonight, and then tomorrow I want to remove the blade and put it away for storage. It's the storage unit lying over there because it's just being damaged. It's not supposed to, I don't want it to rust up and get damaged. The servo drive is what makes another piece of equipment possible, and that is the vacuum filler. So previously we would use just mechanical fillers, a piston filler. So there's basically a piston that just pushes up in this chamber. The mincemeat is put in this chamber. A simple plate moves up. Let's see if I can open this for you guys and show you inside. That's what it looks like inside. Of course, those parts must come out. That plate just moves up, and it creates pressure, and this is screwed on here, and the casings they are fed over the nozzle, and the meat is squeezed through this. It's fairly rudimentary. This is how it was done for many, many years, until the servo drive was invented. Now the servo drive allowed for extremely accurate fractions of a millimeter precision in terms of how the motor spins. Now over here, let me see if I can get the parts. Should be over here somewhere. It's a vane system, right? So what the vane system does, let me first put this in. So that fits in there, and then the vanes are put in like this. Must be an exact fit. This doesn't, that's it. It must go in completely over that. There's another two units that fits in like this. We're gonna do this one like this. Right. Then there's gonna be that I think is the wrong way around. You put this one in like that, and this one's gonna fit in like this. And then the top one, the final one, is put in like this. Right. Now what happens is that the meat gets placed into this hopper. This hopper, which we can close like this. Hook it closed and close it. Let me see if there's anything in its way. No, there's nothing there. It's all clear. The hopper sits like that. Right, and the meat is put in there, right, and now it's being sucked out. Right, let's open this again, and you can see this is the thing that pushes the meat in, but it's not actually the pushing, it is the sucking. This is called a vacuum filler with servo capabilities. Now there's this device is put in over here. It goes in there, and you can see the whole, there's a nozzle on over here. I don't want to assemble the whole thing again. Why is this here? It should not be here. Let's put it over there. I don't want to, this fits in there. A nozzle comes through here. The casing is sitting here. It comes from the hopper and it's pushed in here. And these cavities are filled. Right? So the cavity is filled, and as it turns, right, it now pulls the meat out and it fills the sausage. But you can set how long you want the sausage and how many grams. You can have a 30 gram or a 80 gram or a 100 gram or a 200 gram sausage, whatever it is. You can set a program over here, right? And it is servo, that feedback mechanism that makes it possible. Two things makes it possible by the, how much sausages, how much meat is coming into this cavity. And it can adjust if you want a 300 gram sausage, how much must come out. In other words, there's a feedback between what's happening here and between the motor. And that is the function of the servo. It is not it is the thing that determines the power and the frequency that is applied to this device, right? And the brain inside is telling it's giving it the commands. The control unit is giving it commands in terms of I want the sausages to be 30 gram or whatever the case may be. And there's a feedback between here and the pump saying it is too little, and those feedbacks are made in real time, extremely fast. And I've given you the application on the turret. Is it the turret of a tank, or in even those you've seen the radar systems from anti-aircraft, or the radar systems that pick up missiles, incoming missiles, and that is also controlled by a servo. You can say that the motor is the muscle. Another analogy. The inverter is the spine which controls strength and speed. The servo is the balance or the feedback mechanism, the synapses and stuff in our body that gives feedback to the brain. And the control is your brain giving commands, making the plans, telling your body what it must do and when it must do it. So Armin, I've given you the application in your field of interest, military, engineering, all those kind of things. You've got the application now for this concept. Sigmar, in your world, your interest in neuroscience, the prefrontal cortex, you can look prefrontal cortex and look at a picture of that. That is the cortex is the controller. The sensory feedback is the servo, and the muscle is the motor. Tristan, in your environment, Shannon, in your environment as entrepreneurs and as scientists, the servo, the controller is the strategy. The servo is the one that adjusts and adapts to the environment, and the business plan is the controller. That is the broad plan where you want to go to. It is beautiful because you need the inverter, because the inverter tells you that the conditions are not always ideal. The consistency as environmental factors changes, so there must be an adaptation. Plans must be changed and adapted. And it is in light of this reality that we cannot work without the servo inverter. Now that I mentioned the inverter, it's also a beautiful illustration. For example, the type of energy that we have, that we ingest, must be changed in our body to usable energy that can arrive at our cells in the form of ATP, which will at the end of the day drive the cellular functions and metabolism. The application in Lawrence and in Chris's life will of course be exactly the same. Chris will just be the one who's designing the inverter, and we will be using the machines and that Chris uses. But very few. This Multivac machine here has got exactly the same. He's got a controller and there's an inverter. I want to talk more about Euler and the involute blade. But I think what I'm going to do, Armin, I'm going to give you some reading work, and I'm going to send you the paper that I did on it today. When I was thinking about the interesting features of the slicer, of course the inverter and the controller, the servo inverter and the controllers were the two things that Kirsten and myself were wrestling with, being the two items that was broken on the machine that needs to be repaired. And then while I was thinking about the machine, I couldn't help to think about Euler. Remember we spoke about Euler? Yeah, I mentioned it already when you did the function, the mathematical function. The notation F brackets X is something that was invented by the Swiss mathematician Euler. And he also described this mathematically, and the implications of his description is responsible for the fact that we have the involute blade being used on all high-speed slicers today in the meat industry. Okay guys, that's me for the day. I don't want to make it long and boring, but I could see the application in all the lives of all the kids today, and I thought you will find it interesting. Let me share it with you guys. I hope you guys feel inspired. Cheers everybody.